Good morning and welcome to 10:30 Beginner's Yoga. Today's Saturday, June 13th, and I'm Chris. I'm subbing for Key while she's out of town this weekend. So I'm going to start our class today in a seated position, and so we'll find our seat, and that could be on the floor or on a chair if you need to sit on a chair. If you are choosing to sit on a chair, find one that has a nice firm seat and maybe no arms. If you're sitting on the floor, you could sit up on a cushion or a block and find your sit bones. You could sway a little bit from side to side, just finding the place where you're pretty centered, and then feel your spine lengthening up, feeling how your head is balanced on top of the shoulders, and the shoulders are over the rib cage, over the hips, so there's a nice feeling of integrity in your spine, no strain in your neck. And if you'd like, you could close your eyes and just take a few breaths. Sometimes closing the eyes helps to really be able to feel the breath coming in and out through the nose. And as you're breathing, let your rib cage expand with the breath and contract as you exhale. You might also let your belly expand with the inhale and contract with the exhale. You can even bring one hand to the belly. So inhale, exhale. And as you're breathing, your spine stays long. You're not collapsing with the exhale. Face stays relaxed. If you're joining in and you have any requests for practice, feel free to drop them in the comments. And then if your eyes are closed, you could open your eyes and you could just start to make circles. So circling, kind of stirring your spine around, and you can move your belly as you do that. So maybe exhaling as you round back and inhaling as you come forward, letting your shoulders relax and letting your head kind of be along for the ride. So gentle movement of the neck, and then maybe switching the direction of the circles. This can be done on a chair or on the floor with different leg positions. You could be sitting on your folded legs too, or I'm looking across the street at the apartment building, and there's there's quite a few signs in the windows. Black Lives Matter, defund the police. And then just coming back to center and finding your spine and your breath. And then maybe letting your chest come forward. Maybe the head moves along with this too, and then comes round the back. So you're kind of going through like a cat-cow, maybe inhaling as you come forward. You could close your eyes. Exhale as you round back, drawing your belly in. And just a couple more times, letting it be fluid and easy. This is a little more gentle class than the first class. It's supposed to be a beginner class, but we're all beginners all the time, so it's good to do beginner classes even if you theoretically know what you're doing. And then just coming back to center, finding your spine again, returning back to this neutral position, and then you could take your right hand to your left knee, coming into a easy twist. So not trying to pull yourself too far yet, just letting it be gentle. And then maybe the arms come up and over. Hi. Bringing your left hand to your right knee, gentle twist. And then just back and forth a couple times, moving the arms, bringing them up and over. Starting to slowly warm ourselves up. And back to center. And you could bring your right hand down by your right side And sweep your left arm up. Maybe the palm comes towards the back of the room so the shoulder blade can slide. Watch for your head to drop, so keep the neck long. Maybe looking up or looking straight ahead, just keeping square to the front. And then you could sweep that arm forward and sweep your right arm up. Maybe looking up. Keep sliding your right shoulder blade down your rib cage. And then circle a couple times like that. In that way, just circling one arm forward and then the other. One more time from the seated position, and then pause again. Finding your breath, feeling the head balanced on top of the shoulders. And then we're going to come to hands and knees. I'm going to bring my camera up a little. Make sure. Okay, so we'll come to hands and knees. And bring our shoulders right over our wrists and pelvis over the knees. You can start by just kind of going side to side, feeling into the wrists. Starting to wake up the wrists a little bit. You could bring your hips back, tuck your toes, stretch the bottoms of your feet. And breathe. You might feel it in the calves as well. Maybe moving the hips a little. And then untuck your toes and turn your fingertips back towards your body so that you're stretching into your hands. You could kind of bend into one elbow and the other. I'm just watching for the shoulders to round forward, keep the head lifted. Nice steady breath. And releasing that, just shake your wrists out a little and come forward again to hands and knees. And let's do a little cat-cow, so round your spine, exhale. Draw the navel in. Inhale, tip your pelvis, arch your back. And rounding again, just moving through with the breath. Helping to keep our spine healthy. Cat-cow is a good one for that. So feeling the articulation of the joints of your spine. The movement is happening with the musculature around your spine, so feeling the belly muscles, not only when you round, they're drawing in and contracting, but there's a lengthened contraction happening in the belly as you drop the belly. It's not just relaxing. Then come back to your hands and knees. Let's walk the hands forward, come into a prayer pose. So keep your forearms lifted and wrap your elbows in if you can. And lengthen your spine and also broaden in the middle of your back. So kind of decompressing the spine, tractioning a little. Nice steady breath. And we'll walk the hands over towards the left. Keep drawing your right sit bone back. Feeling the stretch up the right side of your torso and rib cage and arm. And then walking hands back through center and over to the right. Keep drawing left sit bone back. Breathing. And then hands back to center. Take a breath. Let your forearms come down, but still broaden in the middle of your back. And then we'll come back up to hands and knees again. This time we're going to reach back through the right foot, tuck your toes, and just press into the heel. You could rock a little bit, feeling into your calf muscles, the back of the knee, hamstrings. And then let that foot come up. Toes are pointing straight down, keeping your sacrum level. Head is lifted. Reach forward with your left arm. Your thumb's pointing up. You might lift the top of your left foot off the floor a little bit. Cinching in around your waist, drawing the lower ribs in. Breathing. And releasing. just make some circles with the hips. Kind of circling the hips off the ribs. Breathing. And we'll come back to center, this time tucking the ball of your left foot into the floor and maybe pressing back and kind of rocking into the back of the leg. You can also stay there and press and stretch. And then we'll let that float up. Keep drawing the belly in, reaching through your right arm. Maybe lifting the top of your right foot just barely off the floor if you want a little more work in the core, more balancing. Keep the face relaxed, the gaze steady, breath is steady. And release that. Circle your hips. Just let it go. And then let's try this. We will lift the right foot, press back through the heel. Maybe you can bring your weight over to the left side, so you're over the hand and the knee. Keep your sacrum level, maybe you can lift your right arm. So try not to open the hip too much. And try not to dump into your right shoulder, or left shoulder. Press into the floor and lift up. It's tricky. And when you're ready, just release it. Noticing that it's a challenge. And then we'll try lifting left foot, press back through your left foot, find your right hand on the floor, keep the hips square, and try lifting your left arm. Noticing how much you have to bring your weight over to do that. Finding the spot, pressing into the floor with your right hand. It's funny because we never do this here. We don't usually do this here, and it's so hard the first few times you do it. Release. But once you do it a few times, then your body says, oh, okay. And then from here, let's come into downward dog. So spread your hands, wrapping your elbows in, bring your weight back, tuck your toes, lift your knees off the floor, and lift the tail. So you don't have to straighten your legs, you can keep them bent, trying to bring the weight back and up. You can also bend into one knee and the other. Finding your steady breath. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. So bend your knees as much as you need to, coming into a forward bend, so the knees could be quite bent. And the spine is long. Keeping your neck at ease, so there's got to be a certain amount of engagement to hold your head up, but let's not add extra stress in the neck. So taking a couple breaths here. And then bend your knees a lot and release your arms. Release your head. You could straighten your knees a little as long as you can keep your spine somewhat neutral. And then draw the belly in and roll up with a rounded spine, but really do it consciously. Letting your head be the last thing to come up. And then let your arms hang a little bit and let them be dead weight. Do a little twisting. Still breathing. And then we'll just kind of come back to center. You can, if you're on your mat, you could, let's actually walk back out. So bend the knees a lot, come down, and walk back out to downward facing dog. Someone's playing the Jackson 5 out there in their car on the street. Sounds pretty good, actually. Could probably make this yoga class a lot more interesting. And then from here, let's step the right foot forward, bring the left knee down, and come up into a low lunge with your knee down, so squaring the hips, and bringing your weight back so it's really loaded over the left knee. So that you could even lift your right knee. Your right foot, sorry. And then keep that engagement, so grounding down through your sacrum, lifting through your pubic bone, through your sternum, crown of the head, lengthen up. You can bring your foot back down and Lift your gaze. Finding your steady breath, steady gaze. And then maybe sweeping your arms back, you could clasp your hands and just stretch a little bit into your shoulders. Watch for the head, don't want to come forward, just keep it lifted. And release your arms. And then let's step back to downward dog. So really press into the palms and into your fingers, and then maybe a little bit in the center of the palm, there's a little lift as you wrap your elbows in, shoulders slide down the rib cage. Then you can keep your knees bent too. You could step your right foot up and over the left foot. Keep reaching through your hands, lengthening through. Maybe your left heel is lifted. Your left hip is lifting away from your rib cage, even as you're reaching through. Stepping back through center, left foot over right. Bring the sole of the left foot to the floor, lifting the left hip. Breathing, so you're getting a stretch in your lower back. Steady breath. And stepping back to center. Taking a breath. And let's come forward into plank pose. So shoulders over the wrists. Hips are kind of not piped up, not sagging, but right in between the crown of the head. Bring your hips down a little. Yep. And lift up in the belly. And the head lifted. Take 2 more breaths. You can always bring your knees down too. And then maybe let's all bring our knees down and just come with the elbows by the sides down onto the belly. You can sweep your hands back. Keep the tops of your feet on the floor and roll up. And breathing. And maybe rolling onto your side, say your left side, if that feels good. Stretching into the shoulders, feeling your right shoulder blade, kind of digging into the back of the rib cage, sliding down, neck is long, and then rolling back through center, and onto your right side. And one more breath there, and then back onto your belly. This time lift your toes. Try lifting your hands up. Nice. Keeping your neck long, taking a breath. And then just slowly melting back to the floor. Just make a little shelf and rock your hips side to side. Just letting it go, and then we'll bring hands under shoulders. Tuck your elbows in, bend your knees. Bring the hips back, tuck the toes, lift the hips, wrap the elbows in, you're back in your down dog. Just noticing if the neck is gathering any unnecessary tightness, so keep it long and keep it neutral. And then from here, we're going to step the left foot forward and the right knee down, squaring your hips. And again, we're bringing the weight back over the right knee. We're grounding the sacrum, lifting pubic bone, sternum, up through the crown of the head. Let your arms come up. Finding steady breath, steady gaze. Letting your nervous system know that you're safe in your body and that things can stay in a calm state. You can always extend your exhale a little bit to bring the heart rate down a bit. One more breath. And then we're going to step forward. So tuck your back toes. Use your core to help you step forward into your forward bend. Bending your knees if you need to. Just letting the backs of the legs open up slowly. Not in any hurry. Feeling how you're distributing the weight of your body over the soles of your feet. Just noticing, maybe evening it out a little. Your feet are hip width. And then on your next inhale, you can swing the arms up. Reaching up. So again, this is grounding through your sacrum. So this is lengthening, lifting, all the way up. One more breath. Exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Just pause for a moment. Feeling the breath, you could close your eyes. Feel your breath coming in and out through your nose. Feel your heart beating in your chest. Feel how you feel a little different after just one sun salutation. And then we're going to do another one. So lengthening up, reaching up. Exhale, come forward. Again, hinging forward at the hip. Long spine. Taking a couple breaths here in your forward bend. Looking at your feet, seeing to it that they're about hip width. And then this time we're going to step the left foot to the back of the mat for a low lunge. And if this is too much to stay in this pose and keep the head and shoulders lifted, you could also bring your hands to your knee, or you can bring your knee down, your left knee down if you need to. So finding the place where you can keep your long spine in a low lunge. So maybe with your fingertips on the floor. It's a big stretch. You've got a lot of space between your feet. One foot's at the front of the mat, the other foot's at the back of the mat. And taking a couple breaths. So it requires a lot of strength to hold yourself up. Remember, you can bring the back knee down if you need to. And then everybody bring the back knee down. And you'll be in this lunge now with the knee on the floor. Your torso might be alongside your thigh. You could also be up with your hands on your knee. Whatever it takes to keep the shoulders lifted, the head lifted, so you can stay with a neutral spine. Just another breath there. And then just bring your weight back a little bit and maybe come through hands and knees and then back up to downward dog. And just moving a little bit in your hips. You could let your feet swivel a little bit. So like the heels come to one side, you could bend the knees a little, let the hips go to that side, and then to the other. Just kind of feeling into your ankles and different parts of your lower legs. And then back to center. I marched yesterday in the silent march here in my rubber boots. And so my lower legs are sore. The boots are comfortable, but it's just different. So, and then from here, come back to center and we'll come forward, keeping the head lifted, coming forward into plank pose. So long neutral spine, lifting belly. Taking a couple breaths in this very strong pose. Really resisting gravity here with the whole body. And then maybe knees down, keep them lifted. Elbows by the sides, coming down again onto the floor. This time come into Sphinx pose, so bringing the elbows a little bit in front of the shoulders, forearms to the floor. And keeping the shoulders open, lifting belly, tops of the feet on the floor. Couple breaths there. You might let your head move a little so you're not just stuck like you're a statue. And then release, bring the hands under the shoulders, tuck your elbows in, lift the hips, bend the knees, tuck the toes, lift the hips. And you're backing down dog. You might really press into those right hand, wrap the elbow in, and then maybe try lifting your left hand up alongside your body or reaching back for your sacrum. So you're in a three-limbed dog. This is a beginner class, but if you're wanting to try more, you could also lift your right foot. Keep pressing into the hand that's on the floor, or you could just stay with a two-limb, releasing your hand and your foot. And pause for a moment. You could reach your right hand back. So wrap into your left elbow, And if you want more, you could lift left foot. It's pretty hard, so just do the hand if you need to. Release your hand and your foot. And then from here, we're going to step the left foot to the front of the mat. So you're in this low lunge. So maybe staying down, but keeping head and shoulders lifting. You can always bring the knee down or come up onto your left knee. Nice steady breath. Really strong in your right leg. Both legs, really. And then let your right knee come down. And that's like, ah. Maybe you stay there, or maybe coming up. And just finding the right stretch for the front of your right hip. So you're not trying to just dump all your body weight there. You're lifting up a little, maybe engaging a little bit on the back of the hip so that you're not just collapsing. And then bringing the weight up, we're going to step forward. Try not to use your hands, so use the center and a little momentum. Coming back into your forward bend, and bend the knees, long spine. Maybe bending into one knee and the other. And then just pause, and then we'll swing the arms up. Reaching up, lengthening, lifting your gaze. And then hands together at the heart. And pause for a moment, just find your breath. And let's come into a wide-legged stance on our mat. So pretty wide between the legs, and then we'll hinge forward at the hips. You can always have a block underneath your hands if you need one, just bending into one knee and the other. Letting your shoulders and your elbows relax and move. So lubricating your joints, breathing. And just coming back to center. And walking your hands over towards your right ankle or lower leg. And tipping the tail up, so bringing the weight kind of evenly into your feet. You could let your head relax. And then we'll walk the hands back through center and over towards the left ankle or lower leg, maybe the foot, maybe the upper leg. So both hips are drawing back and long spine, just breathing, relaxing the head. You could take a little nap with your arm as your pillow. And then walking hands back to center. And just pause for a moment, doing your little bending into your joints and moving. And then we'll bring right hand in between the line of the toes. I like to turn my fingers back so my right shoulder opens. And then line your spine up. So feel where the crown of your head is in space, reaching straight ahead. Feel your tailbone reaching straight back. Then you're going to reach back with your left hand and just turn that. So there's no movement other than just turning. Keeping the neck long, opening the chest. The left hand is palm down on your sacrum. Some people like to reach around and grab for the right thigh. It's a little bit more mobility, flexibility, and your shoulders needed for that. It's not necessary, but it's an option. And then release the hand and turn down, bringing the left hand in between the line of the toes. And feel the alignment of your spine from the tip of your tail all the way through the crown of the head, and you're just turning that as you reach back. Nice. Keeping your neck long. You can always have a little bend in the knees if you need to, or but finding the spine and the breath, making that primary. And slowly releasing and bending again into one knee and the other. If you turn your toes in and your heel out, you can feel a stretch up the outer part of your lower leg. That's pretty interesting. Just be careful with the knee. That's what I'm needing today. And go to the other side. It's kind of hard to get into those parts of your lower legs. And then let's wiggle your feet closer together. Your toes are slightly turned out, so you're going to come into a squat, maybe bringing the hands down to the ankles and using your elbows to push the knees open. Yeah. Sitting your hips down, but you're also still lifting the tail and lifting the head and shoulders, so your spine stays neutral. Maybe you can reach forward with your arms, or you can just keep them down, pressing the knees open. So lift your tail a little. Yep, there you go. So you're pretty much like parallel with the floor. And you're breathing. So lift the belly. Really strong legs, strong in your core. One more breath. And exhale, just release and let it go. Body weight squat. Let's do it one more time. So you've done it once now, so it won't be quite as hard the second time. So toes are slightly turned out. You're sitting your hips down. You could have arms down, pushing the knees out, or reaching the arms forward. Your gaze could be forward. Lift your hips a little and bring your upper body down just a little. Yes. Like you're reaching your tail back. Awesome. Good. One more breath. Knees are pushing out and release that. It's not like there's a magical, perfect spot for your body to be in, but just wanting to feel the possibilities and play with different positions with our bodies. And then let's come forward and come into a frog pose. So the knees are apart, wide. You bring your feet together and finding a place where you can stay for some breaths, feeling the sensation of the pose, but still breathing. Watching for the head to drop, just keeping it lifted. When we drop our head, sometimes our breath will just become more kind of challenged. So trying to keep the airway open so we can breathe really comfortably and powerfully in our practice. Noticing if you have tension gathering anywhere, like in your jaw or shoulders, just release that. Maybe lift a little in your belly instead. Letting go where you can, engaging where you can. And we'll just come forward and bring our legs together and just let your feet go side to side. And then we'll come back up. And let's do another squat. Let's do a horse pose or goddess pose. So we're gonna bring our legs pretty wide, toes are turned out. And then you might put one hand on your lower back and one hand on your belly. You're gonna, as you sit, this is gonna stay neutral. So you're not gonna pitch forward with your pelvis. I'm gonna turn sideways. So you're just sitting down into the squat and you're staying upright. And then let's do some breathing. So we'll breathe the arms up. That's good. Exhale, bring the arms down. Staying upright, inhaling up. Exhale, the arms down. We're going to do this 8 times, so that's 2. So inhale up, maybe sitting a little deeper. Exhale down. Inhaling up. Exhale down. Watch for your upper body to stay upright. Keeping the neck at ease. I believe this is 5. And 3 more. Let your breath be nice and powerful. You could exhale through your mouth if you want. And just avoid quickly jumping out of the pose. Then straighten your legs, come forward, and take a nice easy forward bend, bending into one knee and the other. Sometimes we hurry to get out of the pose, which is understandable, especially when it's really hard, but just being conscious of our transitions and how we transition. Because most of the time in our life is spent transitioning between one thing and another. So let's walk the feet in closer together. Come into downward dog again, bringing your hands to the front of the mat. And just take a couple breaths in downward dog. And then we'll lift the right leg up and draw the knee forward, round your spine. Keep lifting, and then come into pigeon. So bringing your right knee out to the edge of the mat. And you could come up, find your hips, making sure your knee is okay with this. Breathing yourself forward, maybe to your forearms. Just watching your habits here, so it can be pretty sensational in the outer hip, which can cause us to do things to distract ourselves. So distract yourself with your breath. Practice staying focused on the breath. Letting the breath be powerful and smooth. So if you feel like your breath is saying back off, then just reposition yourself and back off 10%. So moving into the pose with the breath rather than putting your body in a position and then trying to breathe. Make your breath first, primary. And Ujjayi breathing requires that we slightly close off the back of our throat. This is a strategy for practice so that we can hear our breath a little bit. It's pretty soft, but it's just a little bit more audible. Keeping yourself in the flow, just one more breath here. And then let's take a twist. So bring your forearm across the front of your mat, reaching for your right knee with your left hand, stacking the shoulder over the elbow, and then twisting. And I didn't say it, but if you have discomfort in your knee in pigeon, you can come into a different variation of pigeon, which might be a standing pigeon with your leg up on something, like on the back of your sofa or countertop. Or you could also come onto your back and do the thread the needle or figure four stretch. And we might do some more of those things anyway, and then just slowly unwinding the twist. Let's lean towards the right, and we'll swing the back leg forward. And let's actually straighten the left leg, and we'll bend the right knee and sit up. So take a moment just to find your sit bones and find your long spine, and find your breath. And then wrapping your left arm around your right knee, reaching back with your right hand, hugging your knee in, and turning your spine. And breathing. So try not to let the head or the chin jet forward. Just keep it stacked up, supported, breathing. And slowly unwinding. I'm just going to turn this way. We're going to let the knee drop out to the side. So you may want to have a strap handy to take the time to go get one if you need one. I mean, you can even use something like a sweatshirt if you need to, but something maybe like a belt that allows you to have longer arms, basically, so that your spine can stay upright. So if your knee is just like way up here and it's really uncomfortable, just stick a cushion underneath your thigh. But otherwise, let the knee drop towards the floor, opening up the hip. And actually, if you have a strap or a belt, take the strap into your right hand and bring your left hand back and take a little twist. And then release the twist and just come into the forward bend. maybe using the strap or reaching for your foot, but keeping your long spine and your free and deep breathing. So make your breath and your spinal alignment more important than anything else. So if you're coming deeper into the pose, it's with the hinge at the hip and those things, the spine and the breath happening. We're not trying to hurt our backs. We're trying to keep our backs safe and strengthening, and taking another breath or two here. And then maybe you can take the strap into the left hand and maybe bring your left elbow into your left knee and take a stretch with the right arm up. So using your knee for some leverage to open your chest. And keeping the head lifted so the neck stays long and the chin's kind of tucked in. Maybe the palm of the hand turns towards the back of the room. And then coming back up and releasing that. And then let's swing the leg back and come back through down dog. And just bend into one knee and the other, just evening yourself out, coming back to something like symmetry in your body. And then we'll lift the left leg up. Really press into the hands and lift up, and then we'll draw the left knee forward, round, lift the belly, and bring the knee down. And set yourself up for pigeon on this side. So squaring your hips. And then coming forward. Of course, if your knee is bothering you, then, like I said, you could come into a different position. You could move the knee, you could bring yourself onto the back of your sofa, your upper leg, so you're in a standing pigeon, or onto your back. So noticing your neck here, just keeping it aligned, breathing. Nice steady breath, feeling the sensation in your outer hip. And then we'll take a twist, so bringing your forearm, your elbow under your right shoulder, reaching for your left knee, bringing the left hand back to the sacrum, palm down, and lifting up out of the shoulder, turning, opening the chest. And unwinding. And then we're going to swing your right leg forward. Extend your left leg. No. Extend your right leg, sorry. Bend your left knee. And sit up tall. And then we'll take the twist, so wrapping right elbow around your left knee. Feeling grounded in your sit bones and lengthening up through the crown of the head. You might turn your neck some, but we're not pulling on our neck. Just keeping the chin kind of level with the floor. You might look back with your eyes. You have all those little muscles behind your eyes that move the eyeballs. So you can exercise those too. You can gently move your eyes into a deeper movement. And then unwinding. And then we'll let our left knee drop out to the side, the sole of the left foot into the thigh. Maybe using the strap. The strap is just nice because it gives you more room to keep your spine long. And first we're going to take the strap into the left hand and bring the right hand back, just taking a little upright twist away from your left knee. And unwinding your twist, and then maybe coming forward with the hinge at the hip and the long spine. a big stretch. Plus you have the opening of your left hip. So see if you can allow gravity to help kind of pull the left knee towards the floor and open the hip. You can also prop it. Sometimes our bodies don't like parts of our bodies like hanging out in space. It's easier if we have something to push up against, or to support us. Sometimes it can be like more tightening happens if we don't support ourselves. That's a metaphor too. And just another breath here. And coming back up, we'll take the strap into the right hand. You can do this with your foot too, but most of us are going to use the strap. We're going to bring our left elbow into our inner knee, allowing us to kind of rotate the chest open. Then we can bring the arm over and lean in, keeping head lifted. So you're feeling the stretch up the left side of your body, drawing navel in, trying not to crunch too much into your right shoulder, and then release that. Setting your strap off. And let's come back to downward dog one more time, just to kind of even ourselves out. And then we're going to go to a countertop or a table or the back of your sofa, somewhere that you can do some poses with something to put your hands on that's maybe like a little higher, like waist height, or so you can, Jensen, come up there. So we're gonna come up and find something to rest our hands on, and then walk our feet back and come into a forward bend, just resting your hands. So it might be your kitchen counter or your sofa. There's probably somewhere in your house that you can do this. Maybe it's a folding chair. So drawing your hips back and kind of allowing your the middle of your back to broaden. So you can kind of wrap the elbows in. We have a bar, so you can also, if you have something like a bar, you could grab it and let your hips drop back and get some kind of leverage with that, or just rest them on top. And then we'll walk in a little closer and bring the elbows up onto the bar or onto the surface that we're using. And you might press your fingertips together and your palms apart. Remember your breath and keep your neck long here, so don't drop the head too much. And then we'll release that. And let's use this surface to stretch the backs of our legs. So we'll stand on the left foot, and we'll lift the right foot up onto the, I'm just going to say bar, knowing that you probably don't have a bar in your house. And just kind of notice your alignment. So watch for the foot to be kind of flopping out to the side, or just toes are drawing up, hips are square. You can take your thumb into the hip and just feel how it kind of wants to hike up a little. Just draw it down. You can bend the knee a little bit if you need to as you come forward, and then gently kind of straightening the leg. So if there's any forward action happening, it's with this long spine. And so if you feel as you're breathing yourself forward like you're rounding, just back off. You might be just right here. You might have to bend your knee in order to keep your long spine and work towards straightening. So just being honest with yourself. There's nothing there to get to, so it's not like if you had to tie your shoe or something, there's just nothing there. So working on keeping the breath and your spine primary. And if you get more opening, more length in the back of the leg, with that, that's fine. And then we'll just come back up. We'll take a twist. So you could open your arms, palms are facing open. Keep lengthening down through your right hip and relaxing your right shoulder. Nice. Breathing in your twist. And then we'll turn and face ourselves again, face the bar. And then maybe you could bring your right foot forward, bring it in front of your body. And then the toes of your left foot will be pointing straight forward. And then just like we did on the floor, we're going to take that side stretch. So maybe your elbow comes to the inner knee or somewhere along the leg, and you can reach up, just watching for this head to drop. So keep it long. You might look up or look straight ahead, but pay attention to the alignment of the neck. You'll feel the stretch all the way up from the sole of your foot through your fingertips. Nice breath. You might even be able to rotate your rib cage up a little. Feeling the stretch in your low back and the side. And then release. And then think about how you're going to get off, step off with some consciousness. And then we'll stand on the right foot. And we'll lift the left leg up to our chosen surface, which in this case is the bar. Squaring your hips, thumb into your outer hip, maybe, just so you can feel that kind of length through both sides of your torso. Your hips stay square. Maybe you're coming forward. If so, it's with this whole plane of your upper body. You might even think about your heart leading you rather than your head, which is also a good metaphor. You could bring your hands back too if you want. Sometimes that helps to remind you to keep the shoulders back instead of dropping them forward. Feel like you're tipping your tailbone. So you're always moving towards that neutral position. Breathing. If you're at home and you have a spot to do this, but it doesn't feel quite like the right height, you can always stand on something too, like if you had a big, heavy book, just to get yourself up higher, for example. Or if you had to have something lower, that's okay too. This bar happens to be about the perfect height for me, but we have to accommodate ourselves. And that's just like a coincidence that it works so well for me. And then coming back up, some people will stand on a block here, or we have this low bar, so there's always options. And then taking your twist, so you're just turning your spine, just like you did in the other twists that we did. And maybe you're looking back, but we're not using our head to yank ourselves into the twist. So maybe the eyes turn, the shoulders stay sliding, the breath is full. Strong in your standing leg. One more breath. And just turning, and we'll bring the left foot forward. Turning the toes of your right foot so they're pointing forward. And then the toes of your left foot draw back. Almost like you're tucking your left hip under as you bring your left elbow maybe like into the knee. Or you can even just reach for the bar. Just finding a place where you can get a good stretch up the right side of your body. Keeping the neck long. Maybe turning the right palm back so the shoulder can slide. You had it before. There we go. So you feel how that, if you turn the palm back, it allows the shoulder blade to move, so you're not stuck with it open. Just another breath. And then coming out and stepping off the bar or off your surface, coming back into the forward bend. You can bend your knees, just maybe moving your tail a little bit. And then let's step our right foot back over the left, but keep your hands kind of square. Maybe you can actually draw your right hip away. It helps to have the bar, but you can still do it with your hands on a countertop, or so you're lengthening through the right side of your body. And then we'll step back through center, step left foot back. And bend the right knee a little bit. And back to center. And then let's come up, we'll come up close to this surface. And then we'll turn, keeping your right hip alongside the counter or whatever it is that you're using, with the right foot forward, keeping the feet a little bit apart so they're like hip width. And then keeping that sense of being square, you could reach your left hand, just let it lay on the bar or wherever you're standing next to. Reach back with your right hand, so your upper body's twisting. Yep. And you can just, you don't even need a bar. You can just do the twist like this. But bringing your head back and up, so no forward head. You might bend your right elbow a little bit so the shoulder blade can slide and you can lift the heart. Don't forget your breath. The sun is coming out, which I'm very happy about. And release that. And then we'll turn. And we'll turn so our right hip is up against the surface. Left foot forward. Hips stay square. You could rest your right hand on the surface, reaching back with your left hand. So keep your hips square, you're just turning in your upper body. Maybe the left elbow bends a little bit. Again, this could be done in the center of the room as well. Steady breath. So feel how your tailbone kind of wants to point out behind you and your lower back wants to arch. Let's not do that. So lift pubic bone, ground your tailbone, and then lift up through your heart. Yes, nice. And unwinding, turning to face yourself. Let's do one more forward bend. Resting your hands there on that surface. And let's use the wall here. So let's come down and we're going to bring our hips up. Hopefully you have a spot where you can be up against the wall. So bring the left hips up against the wall and bring your legs up the wall. I just want to make sure that everything is visible here. I think if I turn the camera a little, it might be good. So hang on there, I'll show you, Jensen. You've kind of got, Jensen, why don't you come down here so you don't have that lower bar. So you're just gonna scoot your hips up and then you're gonna swivel and bring your legs up like this so that you're pretty close to the wall. And if you don't have a bar, that's fine, you don't need it. Your legs are up the wall. And you're just gonna rest for a moment. You're gonna bring your arms back. Maybe try bringing your arms up over your head. And just let yourself relax and breathe. Just having a little trouble with the camera here. And then you could bring your arms out by your sides. And notice how relaxing it is to lay on your back like this and let your legs be up the wall. This is a really good thing to do after working on your feet all day. And then we might try doing a like a wide-legged position with the legs, watching out for all the brackets there. So you could come into this kind of straddle position, maybe flexing through the feet. Trying to relax your body. And here you can feel your back, so notice if your back really arches or is rounding. See if you can bring your pelvis back to kind of that neutral alignment. Letting your breath be really relaxed. feeling the curve underneath your neck. And just another breath there. And then we'll maybe assist ourselves in bending our knees and bringing the feet closer together. Actually, you could do a little squat on the wall. So you might have to push yourself away from the wall a little bit, but just using the wall, and here you are in a little bit of a squat, in a different orientation to gravity than you normally would be in a squat. So the weight is in your back instead of your feet. So it's a lot different. And then you could also bring yourself into like a cobbler's pose, or this bound angle position. So the soles of the feet are opening. It's a little bit uncomfortable on the feet, but you could kind of press your knees apart. You might get a little traction in your spine if you do that. Kind of bring the hands into the upper thighs, and then draw your knees together. And then you might walk your feet up the wall a little bit. I'm going to use the bar here. And just bend your knees and lift your hips. So you're not bringing all of your body weight into your neck and shoulders. This is kind of like a modified shoulder stand. So you could bring your elbows kind of back to support you, but bring some of the weight of your hips into your hands. So it's not all in your shoulders and neck. If shoulder stand is part of your practice and you want to do shoulder stand, you could, but I think the supported one is just fine if you're a beginner. Sometimes shoulder stand can be really hard on the neck, so being easy with your neck, we don't want to harm our neck at all. And then just slowly roll down and just bring the legs back up the wall and rest for a moment. Maybe the arms come up again. Breathing. You might get a little traction in the center of your back here. And then let's bend the knees. We're going to move ourselves away from the wall a little. So you might roll onto your right side and just push your hips away a little bit, and then we'll come back. And we're going to do figure four. So you'll need to find the right spot for your hips. So you might be closer or further from the wall. Bring your right ankle on top of your left knee. So the nice thing about the wall is you don't have to reach and grab with your hands. So I'm a little too far away to get much of a stretch, so I'm coming closer, but you might have to push away more. So finding your spot, and then you can just let your body will do the work rather than your arms. So that's a pretty deep stretch for me right there. I might move away a little. And then you could also kind of rock a little bit. Maybe you're flexing your right foot. Breathing. Should feel like a good stretch. And then we'll slowly release that and bring left ankle on top of the right knee, flexing your left foot. Maybe rocking side to side. And just another breath. And then uncross your leg, and one more time with the legs up the wall. Once you do this, you're like, why don't I do this more often? See, it's making me yawn. It's so relaxing. And then we're going to move back away from the wall for our final resting pose. So you could roll onto your right side and You could come back to a place where you can find enough room to stretch out. So coming onto your back, and bend your knees and draw your feet in towards your chest. Draw your knees in towards your chest. And rock a little bit side to side. And then bring your feet down, bending your knees. And just for a moment, just kind of press into your heels and just kind of allow your body to jiggle, like pressing your heels into the floor and releasing. So you're getting a little like movement going in a pleasant kind of way. And then release and bring your legs and arms up and just shake them like you're a dead bug, but you're moving. Just shaking your limbs. And then drawing the knees back towards the chest and rocking a little bit side to side. If you can do happy baby, you could reach up and grab the inner soles of the feet, bending your knees. If it's hard to do with both legs, just do it with one leg at a time. Or optionally, you could also reach for your thighs rather than your feet. But if you can get both feet, you might then rock a little bit side to side. It feels kind of good. Maybe coming almost all the way over towards your thigh. And then back to center and release. And just drawing the knees in a little. Then let's extend the left leg and draw the right knee in towards the chest. And take a little twist, bringing the right knee over. Maybe looking back over your right shoulder. And then back onto your back, extending your right leg, drawing left knee in, and letting that knee come over, taking the twist, looking back over the left shoulder. Nice steady breath. And then onto your back. And one more thing, arms out by the sides, feet are hip width. And then just let your knees go side to side. Going slowly. Maybe the next time your knees come over towards the left, you could just pause there. You can also bring your left ankle on top of right knee, only if that feels good for the right knee. So feeling that big stretch up the right side of your body, into the hip and rib cage. And then release that and bring the knees over towards the right with your feet really wide. Maybe picking up your right ankle and putting it on top of your left knee. Only if that's safe for the knee. And one more breath, releasing. And then come back to center. You could bring the soles of your feet together and your knees apart for a moment in this reclining bound angle position. Maybe the arms come up. You could clasp your elbows. And take a couple breaths there. Feeling the breath coming in and expanding the rib cage, exhaling and contracting. And then extending the legs and bringing the arms down by your sides, palms facing open, maybe tucking the shoulder blades under a little, and finding your final resting pose. Allowing yourself to have a few moments there in Shavasana. So coming onto your back and really surrendering. Letting it be heavy and comfortable. softening your belly, letting your breath be natural, giving over the entire weight of your body to gravity. Let your jaw relax. Front of your throat is soft. The chest is relaxed and open. Feel like the bridge of your nose is getting wider. Forehead is softening. The eyes are settling back into your skull. So heavy everywhere. Belly's really soft. And then just taking a moment to feel the effects of your practice today. Just letting your practice integrate into your body, mind, and spirit. And just letting go of anything that you don't need that was generated today. And then you might begin to move a little bit and roll onto your side and come back up to your seat for a couple breaths. Finding this upright position again, finding your long spine. And just coming back to a nice balanced conscious breath to close. Maybe you could bring a little relaxed smile onto your face. Keeping your eyes soft. Bringing the hands together at your heart. And just bow your head to your practice, to your own inner teacher, your higher self, or your higher power. Namaste, and thank you so much for coming and joining in. I'll be teaching for Ki on Monday morning and Tuesday night, and then she'll be back on Wednesday evening. Thank you so much for supporting the Hatha Yoga Center through this time, and we'll see you soon. Namaste.